She was left stranded on a girls' trip, but now she's traveled to over 70 countries solo and has made over $1 million teaching others how to do the same. My guest now is travel influencer and creator, Travel Like a Boss course, Shakeemah Smith. Hey, Shakeemah, morning.
Hi, good morning, Delia.
Listen, great example of turning lemons into lemonade. Talk to me about that experience. How were you left stranded in the first place?
Ooh, girl, grab a cup of tea. Okay, so I ended up going on a girls' trip with two women that I had known for about 10 years. And one of the girls, she had an ex-boyfriend that he would constantly ask her for money and then break up with her. So I just simply told her, like, hey, if you still want to be romantically involved, it's your body, it's your business, but just don't fork over any more cash. And the next morning I woke up on my birthday in Amsterdam and she was gone from the hotel room.
Ooh.
And when I FaceTimed her to see where she was, she said, I left you and Derek loves me and you'll see. So from there, I decided I'm just going to travel by myself.
Listen, I love Derek. Because here you are now making millions and doing what you have to do. So you decided, I'm going to try by myself. Where's the first country that you went to by yourself? And what was that experience like?
The first country that I went to by myself was actually Paris. I chose Paris as my first solo trip because I had always wanted to go to Paris. And I figured if I take my first solo trip, I can kind of diminish the anxiety of being solo if I'm traveling to a place that I really love. So my excitement kind of took over and weighed a little bit more than my fear. And I took my first solo trip to Paris. I also chose Paris because I figured the more touristy people there, the more I blend in because everybody else is a tourist here as well. So there's nothing about me that's going to stand out. So I felt like more eyes, more cameras, everyone's a tourist. So that's why I chose Paris.
Yeah. So after Paris, 70 countries, when did you decide that, this could be a career?
Yeah, so that actually happened pretty organically as well. I had women reaching out to me saying, hey, I see that you keep traveling solo and you come back safe. You're still alive after you solo travel. How is that? So I actually started teaching women all of my methods in a Starbucks and in the East Orange Public Library in my neighborhood. And a girl reached out to me one day. She bought my course. Her name was Adrienne. I'll never forget her. She called me back 6 months later and said, hey, I've been to 10 countries solo after taking your course.
Wow.
But what I didn't tell you is that I am a writer for Forbes magazine. I would like to write an article about you.
Wow.
And from there, I got Essence magazine 3 times, CNN. I signed non-disclosures with TV networks. I wrote a book. So many things happened, all because I just organically met the right person and didn't even know who she was. And that was how everything took off. Again, not expected.
You see why I love Derek?
We love Derek too.
Yes, girl. So tell me, what are some of the things that you find that people are most concerned about? You mentioned one thing, safety. Because you hear so many things coming out of different countries that as a solo traveler, you're very concerned about, am I going to make it? Is that one of the things that you teach us how to book safe travel?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the first things that I hear from women as a concern when they're traveling solo. So one of my safety tips is definitely make sure that when you land, the airport is picking you, the hotel that you're staying at is actually doing the round trip airport transportation. That creates a lot of accountability. If you land at an airport in a foreign country and you take a random taxi, the hotel doesn't really know what happened. Did you miss the flight? Are you a no-show? Versus if the hotel sent someone to pick you up directly, if that driver does not come back with you, then there's some accountability with the driver. Like, hey, so you never saw her. She was never at the airport. Another thing that I would recommend is if you are traveling in a foreign country, definitely use a ride sharing app, because when that happens, your activity and the driver's activity is being tracked in real time. So safety is definitely an issue. Also, with the United States and other countries, we have the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program where you can actually contact the U.S. Embassy or your local embassy, like the Jamaican embassy in every country, and you can have dialogue with them there. Hey, I'm of Jamaican descent. There is a Jamaican embassy in this country. I will be traveling to this country. Can you guys please let me know what the local scams are? What should I be aware of? You know, remember, these are other Jamaican citizens that simply live in France, you know, so I would definitely recommend those things for safety.
All right. Oh, girl, you've given me so much to think about already. So my producer wanted 5 tips. Oh my gosh, you gave us so many. But anything else? How about how do I pack?
Right. I definitely would recommend packing cubes. Also, what I do to pack, I look at all the places that I want to take pictures at while I'm on the vacation, and then I coordinate and pack outfits based on where I'm taking pictures. So that way I don't have all these unnecessary items in my luggage that I don't even need.
Wow. No, great tips. Great tips. What's the biggest misconception that people have about traveling solo, Shakeemah?
Besides safety, I think that people feel like, is solo travel going to be boring, right? Like, you have some people out there that are so used to stimulation that whether they want to admit it or not, Delia, they don't know how to enjoy their own company. Yeah. Being alone makes them uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And my philosophy is, I didn't need anybody else in the room when I was born besides my mother, right? Mm-hmm. And someday when I die, I have no control over whether I do that with someone or alone. So if you were born alone and you will die alone, why are you afraid to live actively alone? Mm-hmm. You know, I am engaged and I love my fiance to death, but by the time that he and I met, I was actually so happy and fulfilled with my life that I didn't even realize that I was single. Like, it wasn't boring to me because I was actually getting to know who Keem was. Nice. Minus the distraction of like having kids or, you know, really anything in my way. So I would definitely say to women, don't worry about feeling bored or alone. It's a perfect time for you to really just live free and get to love on yourself, get to learn yourself, and just get to elevate.
Excellent. Before we go, very quickly, how do I sign up for Travel Like a Boss?
So I have a new book out. It's on Amazon. It's called Ace Your First Solo Trip. You can also reach me on Instagram at The Passport Abuser.
Excellent. So good to meet you. Thank you for. Have you been to Jamaica?
I have been to Jamaica. So I've been to 86 countries, but 79 are solo. And my very first country ever was Jamaica, but it was with friends. It wasn't solo, but Jamaica was actually my very first passport stamp ever. So I love you, Jamaica, and I can't wait to come back.
Please, girl, you need a solo trip in Jamaica. We'll show you how to have fun. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you, Smile Jamaica.
Travel influencer and creator, Travel Like a Boss course, Shakeemah Smith. After the break, we get a taste of traditional Jamaican breakfast. So go.